All right, that Senate policy luncheon is moments away from starting right now, and it could be a defining one for Republicans who gather in that room. They're likely to take sort of a head count about where they stand right now with Judge Kavanaugh and how many of them are interested in making him Justice Kavanaugh. Former Virginia Republican governor, former Senator George Allen knows this process well, has been part of it in the past himself, so maybe he can enlighten us. Senator, Governor, very good to have you.
Good to be with you, Neil.
So what is going on or will soon go on in that room?
Well, they'll be discussing a lot of different things, but I'm sure everything from the economy to obviously Justice Kavanaugh. And, your previous segment that you had, you're talking about Amazon increasing wages to 15%. I just came from a National Association of Manufacturers event, and I have a card here, and 86% of manufacturers are increasing investments, and they want to expand. 72% are raising wages. With the deal made with Canada and Mexico, I think their number one concern is finding skilled, capable workers. So tax reform, regulatory reform, productive energy policy, this is invigorating our economy, and I think that's a positive thing that senators are talking about. And then they're probably all speculating what's going to be in this FBI report about Judge Kavanaugh. And there's really, I'd say, two senators, Murkowski and Collins, who are the ones who want to read that report when it comes out later this week and then make a judgment.
Is it your sense that the ones who do, and they've included on the list, as is Jeff Flake, I guess, who could easily switch, is it your sense that in the end, unless there's something jarring in this that we don't expect or know, and depends on anyone's version of jarring, that he gets approved?
Yeah, I think that if the evidence stays the way it is, and unless there's some sort of direct lie in there, I think people are going to say, all right, this is what he did when he was in high school and college. They're all probably destroying all their high school yearbooks now, so no one reads those.
But you mentioned, Senator, an interesting point about a lie. If there's a lie in there, the reason why I keep hitting that with guests and rudely interrupt them like I do you here is a lie is in the eye of the beholder. If the lie seems to be, you said you only had beers occasionally, and then we come to learn, no, actually in college you drank quite a bit to the point of being trashed, and someone is going to make the leap to the point that you must have been close to blacking out if you didn't black out, and hence you lied to us, and hence we're not going to vote for you.
That's not a direct lie in my sense. I think the best indicator of what kind of a justice Judge Kavanaugh would be on the Supreme Court is not what he did in high school or college, but rather the 12 years he served very honorably and capably on the D.C. Court of Appeals. I actually voted for him when I was in the United States Senate. And so, gosh, how many of your viewers would think, gee whiz, how did I look at the world when I was in high school and college? Do they still look at it that way? Of course not.
But again, it is what it is, right? And the reason why I mentioned it with you and how senators weigh on this is the president was very critical of what he called the hypocrisy on Capitol Hill, referring to Senator Blumenthal and claiming that he was in Vietnam and doing all these things when he wasn't, that he's a fine one to judge. And he referred to some unnamed senator who you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that he did. Do you know who that unnamed senator was? Do you want to share it with us?
No, I don't know who he's talking about. But the reality is that I think a lot of people watching this, that it's gone to an all-new historical low in the smearing and political assassination campaign of Judge Kavanaugh. Sure, the people against Judge Kavanaugh are against him. Those who are for him are for him. The independent or the undecided, I think, are getting disgusted by this. It's really like a soap opera of fantasy criticisms and a new allegation every day. And oh my goodness, he might have been in a bar fight. Is that a disqualification, whether he threw a beer or ice on someone? No. And again, it is not an indication on what kind of a judge he would be. And this is a big issue to a lot of voters who think judges ought to apply the law, not invent it for their own political purposes. And so I think the FBI report will be helpful for those truly undecided senators who I think are Murkowski, Collins, Joe Manchin, maybe Heidi Heitkamp, and maybe a few others. And so as long as things stay about the way they are, I think he'll be confirmed, and I think he'll be an outstanding justice on the Supreme Court.